Hey sixth graders! In this video we are going to be talking about proportions using our cross-multiply butterfly method. Remember, that's where we do this and we multiply our wings. Okay, so Miss Taubman has been reading non-stop. Over the past 4 weeks, she read 6 books. At this rate, how many weeks, so that's our unknown, will it take her to read 15 books? All right, well, in order to solve this proportion, the first thing we have to do is set up this proportion. So remember that a proportion is just two ratios that are set equal to each other, and they need to be equal. So I'm going to set ours up weeks on top and books on the bottom. If I have weeks on top and books on the bottom on the left side, I need to have the same thing on the right side. So weeks to books. That's our ratio. We're talking about weeks to books. All right, we plugged in our words, our units. Now let's go ahead and put in our numbers. So over the past 4 weeks, so I'll put that in my numerator, 4 weeks. I can put a check because I know that that's together. She reads 6 books. Okay, so 4 weeks to 6 books. At this rate, how many weeks? Well, that's our unknown. So for our unknown, I'll plug in a variable. I'll use x. Will it take her to read 15 books? All right, that is the way our proportion should be laid out. Now, when we do cross-multiply butterfly, it's helpful if we don't have our units. So I'm going to rewrite this without our units and just with our numbers and our variable. So 4 over 6 equals x over 15. So this first part was just to help us get it set up correctly. And now I'm going to write it out without it. All right, once you have this proportion written, remember that in order to solve it, we're going to draw our butterfly and we're going to multiply those wings. So I'm going to draw one wing here. Remember, it's getting my 6 and my x and our other wing here, and that kind of grabs our 4 and our 15. Add your little face, give it some flair. There we go. And now I'm going to multiply those wings. So remember, my first one was 6 times x. Put that equal sign there. We bring that equal sign the entire way down. And my next one, oops, and I need that dot there, is 4 times 15. You need a multiplication sign in between it. Now this step is the step that a lot of students forget. We multiply each of our wings, but we keep them together with this equal sign in between. So it should be one equation. Remember, it's got numbers, it's got a variable, and an equal sign in between. Now that we have this equation, we can go ahead and we can solve. We want to find the value of x, so we're going to solve it. So let's go to another color. I'm keeping this in red because this is the step that most of us forget. And now let's go ahead and let's actually multiply. So 6 times x, well, that just gives us 6x. I'm keeping my equal sign, and we have 4 times 15. You can do some scrap work if you want. You could use a calculator if you want. 4 times 15 gives us 60. And now I know 6x equals 60, but I need to find the value of 1x. In order to find the value of 1x, I'm going to undo the operation that's next to the x. I want to get the x so lonely. So in order to undo it, because I have multiplication, I'm going to do the inverse operation. And the inverse operation of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide. I'm going to divide this by 6, and that'll get rid of the 6. I'm putting that line underneath, which means division. And I can just cross off those 6's because 6 divided by 6, 6 divided by 6 is 1. So really, after this, I'm left with 1x. But in order to keep this proportional or equal, if I do something to my left side, I have to do it to my right side as well. So I'm going to have to divide my right side by the same exact thing, by 6. And 60 divided by 6, you can do some scrap work, put this in a calculator, we're going to get 10. So now I know that 1x equals 10. And you can check your work at this point. I'll do it over here. If I plug in x for 10, is it going to work out? Let's see. So if I say, okay, if I say 6 times 10 equals 4 times 15, so I'm plugging it in here, then I'll get over here 60 equals, and on my right side I'll get 60, and yup, that absolutely works. So now I know, yeah, x is 10, but now this is a word problem, so we need to give an answer sentence. So the question asks, at this rate, how many weeks will it take her to read 15 books? So your sentence could be something like, at this rate, it will take Miss Taubman 10 weeks. Remember, we solved for x, which was weeks, to read 15 books. That's what we know. We know she's reading 15 books. We know the rate. We know it'll take her 10 weeks. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.